Boris Johnson went from having a Margaret Thatcher-style majority, similar to 1987, now to having it almost reversed and then some. Let's just remember where we came from in 2019. The Brexit war year, the Brexit election, as Sky News once put it. Johnson coming away, reducing the Labour Party to a shocking defeat, their entire base gutted, disaffected, stayed at home, or indeed some of them came out to back Boris Johnson. And now you have that almost all reversed, really. What's happened? Perceptions have shifted. A whole host of news items on the agenda that the Conservatives have failed to control have been perceived as unable to give confidence over. So we can start, of course, with the cost of living. The Conservatives were seen as really good on the economy a few years ago. Now they're neck and neck with Labour. They have been perceived to have handled the cost of living crisis really badly. Rishi Sunak's spring statement went down like a cup of cold sick with voters, and although his more recent measures were warmly supported, it does feel a bit like too little too late.
My tax plan delivers the biggest net cut to personal taxes in over a quarter of a century, and I commend it to this House.
That's the reputation of the Conservative Party. But then you have Boris Johnson himself. He's become the story. His personality has become the story. Not what he's doing, not get Brexit done, not get COVID done. It's all about partygate for him. It's his own mistakes. It's his own inability to be, in the eyes of the public, a decent politician. His approval was once as high as plus 30 in the early months of COVID. It's now minus 25. Some of the lowest ratings we've seen for a prime minister for quite some time. Normally, prime ministers don't recover from this. Normally they're out at this time. Maybe that's why we've got the vote of no confidence today.
There's a couple of big by-elections going out in two very different areas of the country. One in Wakefield, an old Labour seat that they lost in 2019. It was Mary Creagh's seat. And one in Tiverton and Honiton, which has been Conservative for a very long time down in the southwest of England. Could they lose both of them? And what does that say about the state of the Tory party right now?
He, Boris Johnson, could lose it, and he could be the catalyst for Labour gaining Wakefield and the Liberal Democrats gaining Tiverton and Honiton. It very much is, or feels to be on the ground at least, centred on him. Wakefield was won by the Conservatives from Labour in 2019. It is so-called Red Wall. Tiverton and Honiton, it's rural Devon, voted Leave. It's not exactly affluent or necessarily graduate heavy, and yet the Lib Dems are gunning for it. It's a sign of the times that the Lib Dems are once again regaining support in places like Devon, Somerset, lesser extent Cornwall, but they really are on the way there. It is more probable than not that the Conservatives will lose both Tiverton and Honiton and Wakefield.
And we've seen polls that a majority of the public do want Boris Johnson to resign. But how much of that is Labour Lib Dem voters, people that don't support Boris Johnson anyway? What do the Conservative Party and Conservative Party voters think? Should he go?
Let's just remember, 2019, Tories gained a lot of new voters, or voters who weren't traditionally Conservative. You had a lot of them not voting for the Conservative Party, but voting for the Boris Johnson Party. Okay, there were a lot of people who thought, like, I'm going for brand Boris as opposed to brand Tory. And what we've seen there is a collapsing confidence among those types of people who just have fallen out of love with Johnson and don't really feel like there's any possibility they'll be enamored to him again in the future. So when you look at surveys which show, should Johnson resign, should Johnson step down, on most cases, it is pretty much 50-50. Boris Johnson used to inspire a lot of excitement amongst Tory voters. He inspired a lot of them to come out at the ballot box. Now, he's inspiring nothing.